Guys, I told you a couple of weeks ago that I was going to observe where the Liver King goes from here. Does it work? Does he succeed? Does he get the public trust back and moreover their interest to continue on this journey of being a figure? And I also accepted his apology. I'm not roughing him up right now. I'm observing something because I've never seen it done before. I've never been mad at Brian Johnson, ever. There was a character created by a man named Brian, and that character was called the Liver King. The Liver King affected and insulted the trust of the public and therefore apologized. I find that interesting, not from a judgmental standpoint, I will share with you. I find it interesting from an observational standpoint. How is he going to do this? I've never seen a character apologize. No shirt on, having the voice well lit, talking about the tenants and going to change. So I've never seen a character apologize. How is this going to go? And most predicted it's over. It's over. He sold a lie, it was dishonest, and the whole thing is over. Now he has come out, and it's very hard for a human being to get you all the way. But he tried to come clean. He came with as clean of hands as you can reasonably expect somebody who's dealing with embarrassment to do. All right. The problem that I run into, it's just how are you guys going to respond and what is he going to do, right? The time to bury your head in the sand, the time to come out there. I have not seen him. This is my observations. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I haven't seen him on social media. I've been told that he is still posting accurate stuff on TikTok. But I haven't seen. I went to Instagram, I went to YouTube, I haven't seen anything. As a matter of fact, I was on YouTube a moment ago, and his apology, confessing this to the world, was the last thing that he posted a couple of weeks ago. So I only share that with you because I know he is still active. I know that he's still busy. I saw him on Piers Morgan, by example. I saw him on another podcast with a friend of Joe Rogan's. There was a bunch of guys sitting around. He still had the t-shirt off, and he was coming clean. But when I tell you that I wonder, it's not from a personal standpoint, right? One hard thing about coming off of steroids that they will tell you is not just the physical deficit. You are going to look different. Steroids work. Bigger, stronger, faster. They work. You take those away, you're now not as big, as strong, as fast. Who's going to like that? Well, that's the problem, psychologically. Athletes have an extremely hard time coming off of steroids and then going and still performing. Wouldn't matter where their skills were. Wouldn't matter if they were still a top dog. They have a hard time going and getting that result because psychologically they know I'm not what I once was, and it just affects them. Now, I share that with you because one of the questions the Liver King was asked is, are you still on steroids? And he did a great job of saying yes. He said, yes, I am. Now, that was an honest answer. We all in the know would have come out and flamed him if he tried to say no. It's not something that you just stop cold turkey. A larger problem is the Liver King was talking about, I was having this done and monitored by a hormone expert to get my ranges within normal. Now, the reason I say that's a problem, it's inaccurate. Am I calling him a liar? No. It's inaccurate, but maybe he believes it's true. I mean, maybe we got to start that part of the educational process. There's nothing about the way that he looks that is normal testosterone. I think that you guys understand that. There's no hormone therapist amongst us that is giving him enough juice to have and maintain that look. You would have to do what's called doctor shopping, where you could go to 3 doctors at the same time. They don't know about each other, and you could go and get 3 prescriptions. That'd be one way to do it. You could also just have your buddy do it and have him drop it. I mean, there's a number of ways to go about getting it. I'm sharing with you. He was not ever in a normal range of testosterone. And then you have the manipulation and the misunderstanding of the testosterone test, right? You got anybody that's been more open with you guys about testosterone than me? Just so you understand, I never exceeded the limits. Never got there. Tried. Kept having my doses up. I could never get there. And only for a small part of my life could I even live within the normal range. I'm taking tests. I can see it. I can look in the mirror and see that it's working. But my levels were too low. Why? Number of reasons. But if you exercise, that will chew up your testosterone. A workout will literally chew up your testosterone. You could go and do a hard workout and then take a testosterone test. You're going to have a very hard time being within the normal's range. I'm not even suggesting for you that the Liver King was trying to manipulate this. I think he exercises a lot. I think he then gets called in to go do a blood test and goes and does it. I don't think that he made a correlation between the two. So when he talks about he's going to come off of steroids, he's going to look very different. Very different. I don't believe that he walked around without a shirt on because that's what the ancestors did and he's paying tribute to the ancestors. I don't believe that. I think he liked the way he looked. I think it was a really good excuse. I got a buddy. He's all ripped up, right? He's got abs like I wish that I had, and he will always find a way. He'll always find a way to pull his t-shirt up and rub it. You know, you're at a party, you got some girls. He'll find, and this was a big move for this. Oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, people rub their belly. He'll pull his shirt to rub. You just look beautiful. He would find a way to get his shirt off, and I think that's what the Liver King was doing. I'm only sharing that with you because I'm observing this. The number one thing I'm looking for is it going to work? Can he work himself out of this? And that will be directly reflected by the numbers. Are you guys still with him? Are you still entertained by him? And I think that he has a very entertaining story. I think it's the giving the message to the public. He goes on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan allowed him to say things without challenging him. And the Liver King was to do what's called building a bridge. Here's the question I was asked, but here's the topic I want to discuss. I've got to build a bridge and get myself, I got to get off of his question. I got to get to what I'm here to do. And he was throwing out stats. Said that 80,000 people a day in America attempted suicide. It's heavy stuff. That's very tough. Where did you get that number? Where did you possibly get that number? How would you possibly know that? So we're doing suicides in record rates. Where did you get that number? And I'm only sharing with you because the whole attempt was to look as though, hey, my purpose was noble. My purpose was right. And you're going to do it with the 9 celestial tenets. I mean, I got to just right there, I'm out. There's some kind of make-believe land that our ancestors were all muscled up and healthy. They had no indoor plumbing, and they had an average lifespan of 35 years old. What about that is healthy? You believe that they didn't wear a shirt, which is why you're not wearing one, because that's the noble way. They didn't have them. Are you aware of that? There wasn't a Nordstrom's back then. They didn't have JCPenney. That's why they didn't wear shirts. They didn't wear shoes and socks either. They didn't wear underwears and brassieres. They didn't have them. I mean, do we need to be clear on that? Growing the hair out and letting the beard go because that's what the ancestors did. They didn't have shaving kits back then. That's why they had that. They didn't have combs and toothbrushes and hot showers. That's why they had that. And to make believe that our ancestors were eating something raw, what an insult. I mean, what a tremendous insult to our ancestors. You don't think they knew what fire was? You don't think that they were cooking foods? With what evidence are you bringing that? And moreover, where did they get the food to eat? You want to know what the ancestors ate, guys? They ate crickets. They ate worms. They, whatever they could get their little slow hands on, then every now and then you would have a member of the group that would go on what's called a hunt. And then he would bring this food back, and it would take days and days, and then maybe you would get something to eat. It was a treat. This was not regular. They were not eating liver for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They didn't get to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's the real truth, and I'm just sharing that with you. You will never look like he does by eating liver, and you're a weirdo. You'll also never get a date, just so you understand. If you're a guy and you think he's a cool guy and you think you're going to pick up a gal and you're going to serve her raw liver, I'm here to share with you. It's a ridiculous idea. The whole gimmick is ridiculous. There is no truth. There wasn't 80,000 people that we can verify that attempted to do suicide. That would be very heavy stuff. And if you were attempting to stop them, that would be really great. But that isn't what's happening here. Now, I'm not here to attack his ideas. I'm here to tell you the ideas are never what got the Liver King over. It was the entertainment. And he is an entertainer. And he's got a story put together. The story would not hold what's about his childhood. And he looked at himself and he was worthless. Then he wanted to change himself. The Liver King is full of charisma. And he's also full of self-confidence. It takes a very healthy ego to take your shirt off and go in front of the world. It just does. Those things don't change. You don't flip a switch. I don't think if we heard from his childhood friends that these stories are going to check out. I had a friend that went into the wine business. We got orchards. We got wine orchards and vineyards all over Oregon. All over. And I had a friend that goes into the business. I asked him what the hardest part is. He said, well, it's not getting the land. It's not understanding how it slopes so the sunshine gets there and getting your water out and harvesting your crop. He said, the hardest part about the wine business is coming up with the right story before you go to the market. I said, what do you mean? So we get a wine's real easy, and quite frankly, there's not a better wine than another wine. That's just what pricks get together and say, and it's always directly related to the price. So if you want a good wine, just charge them more money. The problem is to get them to buy the wine in the first place, you got to have a good backstory about your aunt who lived in Italy and made her way over on a boat with nothing except a recipe for wine that she had tucked away in her shoe. You have to have that kind of a story to sell the wine. And I'm just sharing with you, the Liver King checked a whole bunch of these boxes. Now he's in a jam. And he's working his way through it. And says he's going to come off of steroids, continuing to set the table for naught. Continuing to say, I worked with a hormone. I worked with a doctor. I had my levels within the normal range. These are all to set the table for eventually why I didn't come off of it. Which really boils down to, I haven't been wearing a shirt because I got a bunch of muscles and people like them. When I got off the steroids, the muscles went away and I didn't like it as much. I can live with that story. Can you?